Good morning, Nigeria, and welcome. This is Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television from our corporate headquarters in Lagos State, in Nigeria. I am Henry Igwebike, and I love us to kickstart today. Very interesting day it is with what we have from our newspapers, and right after that would be our main conversation also for today. But please do well to be part of what we do. Have a say in what we say. You can find us. Reach us when you visit us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. I'm very so honored to have with me, joining me via Zoom is Mr. Adiola Shoyiton. He is a social activist and a journalist. Thank you so very much for being here. We truly do appreciate you, Mr. Shoyiton.
Good morning. My pleasure to be here.
Thank you so very much, sir. And I'd love us to start this day, interestingly, with the first daily on our desk is coming from the Vanguard newspaper. We have litany of interesting stories here, but let's go with insecurity. Northern governors, OK State Police suspend mining. They are requesting that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should give them 6 months of suspension for mining. Hopefully that might trigger down the insecurity ravaging that part of the country. But is that the solution? That's what Nigerians would love to know. But on the top strip, we equally have the coup. Nigeria protect Guinea-Bissau's opposition candidate. And equally, we have terrorism. US, France, UK backing Nigeria with technical support. And that's coming from Ribadu. And we have on the downstrip that Jonathan's wife, Ganduje, Donald Duke, Fayose orders lose Abuja land as Wike revokes 1,950 plots of land. The Fubara counters Speaker Amiewule's criticism on education. I thought that the state of emergency must have brought peace between these two rivals, but it seems to me that the problem is still right there. But Mr. Shoyinto, I'd love us to take on the matter that is the newest of them all, which is Defense Minister Badaro resigns. Of course, they said, as what we have from Bayo Ononuga, he said he is resigning on health grounds. Just like Aljuri Ngalale equally resigned on health grounds. Ganduje equally resigning on health grounds. Mr. Shoyinto, what's happening to this administration? Everybody seems to be resigning on health grounds. What do you think is happening?
Well, it's a question of ethics and values. Which the administration lacks. That is why they have to start lying every point in time, assuming that Nigerians are fools. We are not. They are the foolish one that are pretending to govern. If not, how can you just find excuses that is not telling? The minister resigned because it's not competent. It's obvious. And of course, the junior minister also should have resigned. When people talk about American coming, disagreeing, and what have you not seen the gains of Trump's Twitter, just ordinary Twitter? It threatened to be here to fight terrorists. But some people, out of their own political partisanship or just machine, they did not look at the life of people involved. They are talking of sovereignty. Meanwhile, humanity supersedes sovereignty. And there's no nation that can claim absolute sovereignty in this world today, because all the nations are members of one international organization or the other. And that means that you have lost your sovereignty at a point, not totally. So we can start talking of relative sovereignty, not Nigeria just issued a stand warning to Burkina, what they call it, Guinea-Bissau.
Yeah.
That is interference? Do you want to say that? No. It's because they belong to ECOWAS, they belong to EU, and they have signatories to the putting humanity first and putting democracy first where it can work effectively. So it's about lies as a principle and ideology of this government. The minister resigned, and people have said, the media has also reported on the basis of pressure from America. They are not trusting those failed governors. How do you, in fact, this Tinubu government is falling. You know, you are coming to, I mean, honestly, should have had a war cabinet, you know, in terms of orientation. But what is happening is a second term cabinet who can just deliver the vote, crooked way or otherwise. That is not statesmanship. You met serious terrorism, banditry, crime, social crime. I mean, a good president would have just focused on that. Your work will determine whether you're coming back or not. It's not about less than a year. You're already flying flags, pasting poster, pictures everywhere. That is madness. So the guy resigned. Of course, it's not they let them call it anything. If they want, they can say because he lost father, you see, he lost his father, his mother.
Lost
So
the
it's
dog.
not, they will. He resigned because there is no effective. If I would have resigned before now, and the other minister of defense should also resign. And
Yes,
if this thing
Matawale.
continues, I don't. Tinubu himself should resign. That is the because he has advised previous government president to resign because that's your fundamental duty, protection of life and property. If you are failing and there's no way out, you have to resign. It's as simple as ABC.
Yes, but don't you think that all of this might cost him significant vote come 2027, especially in the northern part of Nigeria? Because it seems to us that you know, all those that have been fingered to have partnered with bandits or insurgents are mainly domiciled in the northern part of Nigeria. And if President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who knows how to play politics, would go by what the United States are asking for, it means that the likes of Shetima, the current vice president, might have to equally resign, because remember, he was fingered. His predecessor said that he was the one that created the Boko Haram, and the tit for tat went on and on between both of them. So don't you think all of this might cost President Bola Ahmed Tinubu 2027, especially from the northern part of Nigeria?
Well, personally, I am interested in security of life and property first and foremost. Politicians that are rogue politicians will be thinking of second term when you don't even know the number of thousands of citizens. And in the bush or in the desert with these criminals, dirty terrorists. So I mean, whether it's going to lose vote or not, it's not really my basic concern, because losing vote or not losing vote, that is even possible in a free and fair election. But we also know that Nigeria today is the man that have the gun, that have the higher war chest, that can patronize, that can do this and do that. That is why, if not, those you mentioned are not supposed to be in the cabinet. But Maki, APC itself, is a product of gangsterism, terrorism, you know. A lot of them have confessed that they imported bandits from neighboring countries to come over. But I was surprised too. I've been with Kama for many years. And I know Fulani men, farmers and villagers have been living in harmony. So all of a sudden, we just saw a lot of atrocity coming during the Buhari, and Tinubu kept quiet. And I mentioned it, I even wrote it somewhere, that if you see a prince who is desperate to become king, but he doesn't care. It matters to him none whether the incumbent king is ruling well or not ruling well. All he wants is just to become king after a very bad, terrible king. Worship such a king, if he eventually becomes, will be a more terrible king that the incumbent king is supporting. And that is the ideology of Tinubu when Buhari was there. All they are talking now, they are part of their war chest, state police, restructuring, ethnic nationalism, right and These are part of Tinubu's led so-called progressive for over 30 years. 8 years of Buhari, you did not even mention even the Lagos incoherent local government that you created. Supreme Court said you have the right, but the National Assembly must clear it. Legitimize it. Okay, you are saying Obasanjo was the issue. Now, Obasanjo was not there. 8 years of Buhari, no senator from APC, even though they were overwhelming majority, mentioned even the South, even no senator from Lagos, mentioned this Ikoyi local government, I mean, for it to be legalized by the Senate. And of course, they are not interested, but they don't want to rock boat with the Buhari or the northern oligarchy that are in power. That is why they kept quiet. Now he's inheriting the problem now, and it's contributing more by putting people who are not effective, who can never be effective. How can you put governors of failed states in defense? How can? Look at defense caliber of people in different countries. You don't joke with resource, you don't joke with the economy, you don't joke with the education, you don't joke with the works. These are basic ministry that you don't even joke. It's not for patronage. And that's why you're having all this problem. Whether it's going to lose or going to, that is your headache. What matters to me is that those children who regard you, stupidly said they are doing fine. And many more like that. Parents, Bishop, Alpha, a lot. Students were kidnapped, terrorized, killed. A lot of them, moving travelers, nobody is safe. That is should be the immediate concern of anyone. And even the government, I don't give sign that you are more interested. After all, I think it was Jonathan that we all killed clueless in that time, that said his ambition is not war, a single pint of blood of any Nigerian. That should have been the extension of philosophy of this government. But mark you, is a roguish government in terms of ambition, in terms of orientation, in terms of character, in terms of focus. They are not interested. Less than a year, you saw them saying, yeah, I've been in this country for a long time, and I witnessed election, I witnessed performance, I witnessed governance. No president will start on Abba. First year, I saw those posters and Keja. INEC was there, keeping quiet, not warning anybody. Because when other people join, other parties join, INEC had his vote, and we have not started the election. You don't run a government. You don't run a country on the basis of roguish, elites. I'm sorry. These are very, very terrible political elites, that are not interested, just power, and not in power. Yes, the North is pushing the position, which is good. I think they say, okay, they want state police. We should have been the so-called progressive of the South, particularly Southwest. But they are just the people. You deceive them on philosophies, programs of restructuring, state police, budget, whatever, and of course, you're talking of ethnic nationalism. You kept quiet. And these are, even within the bourgeois sector, these are at least some good, basic way to start a nation. Tinubu came after the conference he has not even seen a page of that conference resolution. At the airport, he said, no, you can't, the conference cannot work. They're going to do better one if they get eventually, voted. Now we are facing this. At least you don't accumulate too many problems before you can solve one. No, you start solving problems as they come. Okay? So it's a question of some greedy politicians across parties assembling together, to take Nigeria as their possession. So what we're having now is the siege of political merchants who are not interested in health, in work, in security, in anything. Just come out with some funny policies.
Yes, I'm talking about Mr. Shointon. Sorry for interjecting there. And speaking about merchants that you have talked about, you called them political merchants. I'd love you to speak to us on this, the list of ambassadors that was made possible by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and submitted to the National Assembly for verification. What's your take on this? The Nigerians have come out en masse to discredit that name, that it's more transactionary. It's like paddy, government, gifting people that are loyal to you, not patriotic to Nigerians. What's your talk on this, especially Reno Omokri, Femi Fani-Kayode, a Bazo that has done nothing for his state for 8 years, with others? What's your take?
Well, first thing, Tinubu knows what he's doing, and it's obvious. So he's not making any mistake. Somebody without integrity, you don't expect him to change overnight, start getting people to his side. No, you can see when he was to pardon prisoners, who did he focus to pardon? If not because Nigerians shouted, drug baron, those who have money laundry, and few others. They don't have all those. I mean, how do you, when I've been to prison during my students' young days, being with DSS, during my student, during the pro-democracy activism and what have you. So I've been there. You see boys that stole just a pack of cigarettes, spending 6 years there. You see people who are just stealing. Those are the concerns should be, okay, let's have those who are not supposed to be in prison, or who are not supposed to be in prison more than 2, 3, 4 months, that are spending 4 months. That are the people who the focus not his focus. Now he moved to come and tell UK to release a confirmed harvest, organ harvest, a terrimatch or whatever. I mean, you can see when we have a lot of Nigerians that committed simple immigration crime, and they are spending months in UK. You don't look at those that because you guys set them out of Nigeria because of your bad economic policy over the years. So that was they wanted to in desperation to be in UK at all costs, and they found along the line. Those should be the center of focus. They are looking for somebody because of political relevance to you. You are looking for somebody, a senator, who has been there for long and, of course, committed. So this idea of ambassador, personally, I'm not surprised. The only maybe surprise I have is Mahmoud, the immediate past IDEXIAN. Why it surprised me is that professors, assuming or granted that Tinubu doesn't have integrity character and he doesn't care, a professor at that level should understand that there's no way his appointment would not be seen as a payback. And it's a payback. You conducted a very, very controversial election. And of course, you are removed. And of course, now you are taking an appointment. Why can't you go back to the university or research center or go back to your home? A professor supposes to have some honesty, some integrity. So if it's like a president who turned his country to a motor park, inviting you to come and be one of the touts, and you accepted as a professor. Fani-Kayode and Mokere and all of that, we know their trade is where food is. And you say Mokere, you call somebody a drug baron, you even went to the university to bring out facts for being a forger and what have you. And the same government, I mean, it shows people don't have integrity. I wonder how they sleep. Honestly, I wonder how they sleep. His case, Obokere's case is like a man who called his wife a shareholder prostitute and went as far as stripping her naked in the market, beating her. This woman is a prostitute, what have you. And when it's time, to present Miss Nigeria, you want to present it. You want to say, this is my wife. I didn't say that, or I made a mistake. And it was lying. I just watched I think Children's television where he was Rice, where he was interviewed. And he said he didn't call him that drug lord doesn't mean the guy is sick. That drug lord doesn't mean a criminal, drug lord, and mark you, internet never forgets. They now brought where he even said his forfeiture shows crime and what have you. So I mean, how do you didn't call somebody a business lord because of the drug lord, and you want to tell us that's semantically wrong? The guy is sick. The guy is sick. But mark you will not. It's like his employer. I wrote a piece 2 days ago. Now the employer and the employee, they don't have ethics. They don't have. And you see my problem. We will start blaming youths now unnecessarily because they are looking at their role models. What that means is that you have to be on principle. You have to be where belle, where money, where food day. These are my basic worries. Because the youths, they are looking at all these things, and leaders are supposed to be role model, not role model. And that's a problem. We are going to face all this problem later in life. I grew up during Awolowo's time. Shagaris, I mean, I voted during Shagaris time. Even you can see Shagari as we are complaining about, I mean, less performance. You can see the courage, you can see the integrity. We know his school, we knew his image, we knew his family, we knew everything. So you can see the courage. And you want to talk about law with the cerebral, the integrity display. I want to talk about Zik. But today we have a lot of, I want you to talk of Onabanjo as governor, who I follow as a media guy for years. You want to talk about Bola Ahmed, you want to talk about Ambrose Ali. Look at the Edo State. Ambrose Ali, I wonder, is it not the same state governed by Ambrose Ali, Professor Ambrose Ali? Not being governed by this non-entity of the government, you know? So it's a question of when you have roguish leadership, you are going to have a narrative, an ethical upside down, a bad narrative. If care is not taken, the whole national ethos will collapse. That everything will change to, it doesn't matter. Everyone will change to talk, everybody will change to immorality, and that's my worry. It's not about whether somebody is compensated. But how do you build the nation? How? You saw somebody today attacking the president, calling him a drug, and tomorrow is. And what is an ambassador post? They are your faces outside the country. And internet has made it easy for people. How do you appoint somebody or people who first of all explain their own integrity to the international or anywhere they are before they start talking about your country? Because they will ask questions. I remember when one of these ministers during Abacha regime, this Edo state-born minister, I think he's dead now. When Saruwa was killed by Abacha regime, they sent him abroad to do image launch, forgetting that those one have more common sense, you know. And he was asked, why the government case River? He was trying to justify that. The media were just leaving. The same thing applies to Professor Aguda, Akeola Aguda. He wrote a piece in the early 90s or late 80s. The title of that piece is The Question I Could Not Answer. I read that piece, I caught it, you know, from my library there. He said, when they were doing a lot of nonsense in the country, during under I think Abacha or Bangida, and Abi Aguda was a renowned international legal luminary. He said he went to a conference in Germany, and they did not even allow him to settle. Because the Igbo people were asking questions. How does it happen in your country? How did this happen in your country? Is that the point? He almost dissuaded himself as a Nigerian because they did not even allow him to rest at any corner. Because they are eager. How do you, nice man, how do you cope with such government? He said they're going to apply to international community. They will start asking questions. Because don't forget, they will ask you call your president a drug baron, you supply facts and fine, you supply this. Why are you not taking appointment on that? He must explain. It just so you just have to explain. You say you can never take. If I even say I only pity those who are taking that guy seriously. Because apart from abuses and what, you said that he was asked the same question. Will you take appointment? He said over his DNA. He will
Yes.
never. That is personal. That is personal. What that means is that forget abuses political. You can say, okay, you can allow that, okay, politicians abuse themselves. They tell a lot of lies against us. Now, your personal, your integrity. And you say, I can never. So what's going to happen? How do you sleep? When you look at this, you know, and everything's on media. That was why people have to show all those things on the media. If it's not easy for him to be recalled, because Tinubu loves people like that, because he's also a street guy developing. So he wants people like that. But he forgets that he's not representing himself. He also represents, the nation. And the
Yes, but
nation,
if
I
I
will
might
say
ask,
this.
yes, if I might ask, historically, people who behave like this, especially with the tendencies that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu brings to the table, for him, loyalty is more important to him than patriotism. What do you think the end often looks like for people like President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, especially when you compare them to leaders like him around the world who have equally behaved like this? What is usually the end like, from your experience and your background of study?
Well, the experience, what await people like him. History has taught us big lessons. First thing is, you can't have your roguish way always, except you are lucky to die in office, or you are lucky to die immediately after office, like Buhari did. If not, but nature has a way of controlling itself. It's as simple as ABC. Now we have been seeing him exposed. All 30 years of campaign for restructuring, for ethnic nationalism, for resource control, is no more saying that. An average intelligent person will know this man has no integrity. He stopped it. What you are saying, I will never, with Jonathan remove all subsidy, he wants to kill people, is an enemy of the people. You have removed, you have even multiplied the oil prices. So any intelligent person will know that this is not a man of ethics. And of course, you have everything you have done, you have condemned, you have done twice. What that means is that for a nation with people who have common sense, and I know Nigeria has a lot of people, more in majority than rogues. It's obvious. Go to markets, listen to them. Even those who are voted for Tinubu started complaining and even putting a lot of hatred on me. So what that means is that at the end of the day, he may escape if he's very lucky to die, either in office or outside office immediately, like Buhari did, or he gets away if the moral fiber of the country is captured on the basis of roguish leadership, which is also a possibility, because it's part of the agenda to make people poor. Now you get people policy of getting people to be poor so that they will be easy, cheap human commodity for election, or they don't even come to election again and continue to win. But look at Seseseko, Zaire. In fact, I saw Seseseko in Mobutu, in Tinubu, and I see, I'm talking about that is the style. That's the style. You want to kill all parties, you want to kill all the opposition so that you can be one. After that, what's going to happen? People are going to be opposition to you now, including military and what have you, anytime that happens. Because the same thing is, you see, the so-called national institution like National Assembly, Judiciary, and what have you, even society group, they will lose their integrity completely. And I've written on many occasions that people should go and look at the history of civilian dictatorship. One, they are always trying to legitimize through the National Assembly and Judiciary that are already in their pocket. That's why, go and check, there is no civilian dictatorship in Africa especially that did not have support of the National Assembly. And judiciary, either they want to extend their tenure, they want to change the constitution, they want to be more draconic. And I've warned that Civilian dictatorship is worse than military dictatorship. History has said that. Why is that? When you have a military dictatorship, people know these are illegal people. You can circumvent that government anyhow, anytime, and you can do what anything you think you want. But for civilian dictatorship, you have a semblance. You give a semblance that if you commit crime or you commit a crime against humanity or you looted, the National Assembly will accept. If you go to court, the judiciary is there to say you are wrong. So that is the danger. So while you are in fallacy, the illusion of a democracy, then you are getting worse terms than military dictatorship. And that's the problem. At the end of the day, what's going to happen? Either you have a social revolution in your hand, or you have a commotion everywhere, and everybody decides to go on their own way. This is what they have not seen. This is what they have not seen. And I would always warn several, during the campaign, that look, don't make Nigeria to be vulnerable to a lot of social unrest. And this is that was what happened after the second election in 1983, when MPN said they have won to the lagoon, they are going to. He said it's no more landslide, landslide. There's such arrogance. People may not act immediately, but they are listening, they are watching. So that's why you see at times. That was why in 1984, when Buhari coup came, I was part of those who jubilated. Even though it's like jumping from fry pan to fire. But at the same time, if somebody is kidnapped by a terrorist, an armed robber wants to save him, of course he will not think whether the armed robber is worse than kidnapper. The first instinct is to leave where it's not safe. And that was what exactly happened to Shagari. And of course, civilians should learn this. Everybody say they are sabotaging. Nobody is sabotaging anything. It's the government you said that's sabotaging itself. Because at the end of the day, good governance is antidote to unrest, to coup, to revolution. If there's no way you can do it's going to happen. It is going to happen one way or the other. It's like a student, it's like a vice chancellor that doesn't want a student's union in his university. He's just joking. There will always be problem to be solved by the leadership, credible leadership of the student movement. But the moment you don't have, people will take laws into their hands. And that's why you start seeing a lot of protests going on. During our time, this, even though we disagree, at times, he knew who and who to be held responsible. And they should have confidence in us, that, okay, don't let us fight, let us discuss and this and if you need to fight, then we fight at the Congress. And that was why people respect leaders that are credible. But the moment they are now, okay, have we now seen? They are piped down on their campaigning around. Now they are focused defense. Must we wait till when Trump issue a Twitter? Must we wait? Because they have never seen government in this for the past 3 weeks now, doing what they are doing now, And of course, those who don't understand, you said Trump did not go. Trump is already here because the psychological effect of that, amending their ways, trying to see security as purpose. It shows it's obeying Trump, and of course, it's obvious.
All right.
It's very obvious.
Yes, very so obvious. Of course, we will do some more talking on our main conversation on this. And I'd love to let you know that Mr. Shonington will be here to take us on our main conversation when we return. Baba-Ahmed, Nigeria, too broken for Tinubu to run again. That in a bit is still Enterprise the morning. Please don't go anywhere.